children, we are back to our class with the topic classification of plants. In the previous class, you have learned how the plants are classified and how many types. So, the plants are classified into two types. On which basis? Yes, based on the production of flowers. In that one, the first one is flowering plants. Those are means the plants which produces flowers are called flowering plants. And those flowering plants also divided into monocotyledonous plants and dicotyledonous plants. On which basis? On the basis of the seeds. It may contain one cotyledon or two cotyledons. So, on the basis of cotyledons, those flowering plants also divided into two categories. Now, let us go with the non-flowering plants. The non-flowering plants means the plants which do not produce any flowers are called non-flowering plants. What are those? And you may get wonder how these plants will reproduce, means how the plants will develop new plant from it. You may get the doubt. So, these are very small plants. Of course, there are some plants, big plants also, but the example for that one are algae, fungi, mosses, ferns. These are the examples of non-flowering plants. First of all, what are plants? How they prepare their food materials? The plants prepare their food materials because of the presence of a pigment called chlorophyll. So, based on this chlorophyll, they absorb the sunlight from the environment and carbon dioxide and water from the soil. So, these four factors are important for the plant to produce its food materials. Isn't it? Yes. So, the plants means these plants also contain, the non-flowering plants also contain, some are having chlorophyll and some are not having chlorophyll. If you see the algae, these are, where you can see this algae, can you see? Yes, if you observe take some water, a glass of water from the pond, you can see small greenish structures to the near the pond. You can see the green color structures, they are moving in the water. Those structures are nothing but algae. If you observe under the microscope or with the magnifying lens, you can see the structure of the algae. So, these algae contains chlorophyll. These algae contain chlorophyll and can prepare, that's why they appear green in color. These, because of the presence of the pigment called chlorophyll, they appear in green color. So, green color structures, red-like structures are called algae. So, because of the presence of chlorophyll in them, by observing the water, they have water. They are absorbing the water from the water and sunlight from the environment and also carbon dioxide. They prepare their food materials. They will not depend on any other organisms for their food. They prepare its own food materials and can reproduce. They will grow. But they do not produce any flowers. These are also plants. The thread-like structure, the green thread-like structure are called algae. They are also plant. Next one is fungi. What are fungi? Have you ever seen the bread, rotted bread? If you keep a slice of bread in a polythene cover for more than 2 weeks, you can observe small thread-like structure which are blackish color, or sometimes you may see greenish structures, thread-like structures. Those are, you can see these thread-like structure, and a dot-like structure is present above it. Those are nothing but fungi. Not only on the bread, on the spoiled, on the curries. If you leave the curries for 2 days, you can see the white color, white thread-like structures over the curry. That is nothing but fungi. Why it is growing on over the food materials? Because these fungi do not contain chlorophyll. Means chlorophyll is absent. Whereas in the algae, chlorophyll is present. That's why it prepare its food materials. Whereas the fungi, this chlorophyll is lacking. So, to absorb the nutrients, why the nutrients are necessary? For their growth. To live, they need nutrients. For that nutrient supplement, they are growing on rotten food items, like curries or rice also. You can see on the chapatis also. And they will grow on the dead and decaying matter. That is a rotting. Kullipoyindi antam kada, same. That's it. So they will grow on the dead and decaying matter and absorb the nutrients from the decaying matter, and they live. When these spores, you can see these are called spores. The upper part is called spores. They contain small dust-like structure, dust particles. When these spore bursts, it releases the spores, and again these dust particles, dust-like particles fall on the another food items. It will also get spoiled. So this is a fungi. It is also useful for us. A scientist called Alexander Fleming discovered an antibiotic called penicillin from the fungi. Means this fungi is a plant. It secretes, it contains some chemical substance. Those are necessary for us to fight against some diseases. Means he collected that chemical substance from the plant, that the fungi, and injected into a human being. So this injection is called antibiotic and used to cure some diseases. So this is the first antibiotic discovered by the scientist Alexander Fleming. So it's an important one. Next one, mosses. So these are the small, soft, velvety patch-like structures which are present on the walls. In the rainy season, you can see because of the moistness on the wall and by observing the sunlight. It is also a plant. Moss is also plant. It is a small, soft, greeny patch-like structure. You can see the soft. You can feel when you touch it. You can feel the softness. It will appear like a velvet cloth. So these will grow on the on the walls, moist walls, by absorbing the sunlight and prepare its food materials. It also contains chlorophyll. Next one is the ferns. It is also another kind of non-flowering plant. If you observe, when you go through the hilly regions, you can observe these fern plants. their stem is underground. The stem is present underground. The stem of this plant we call it as rhizome. The stem of the fern plant we call it as rhizome. Whereas the leaves are called fronds. F-R-O-N-D-S, fronds. So, this is the leaf of this fern plant. You can see dot-like structures beneath the leaf. Beneath the leaf of the fern plant, black dot-like structures. Those dot-like structures are called spores. We call those spores as sorae. So, when these soil fall on the ground, again it develops into a new plant. Here the dot-like black color structures are present beneath the leaf. When these dot-like structures, that's the sorae, falls on the ground or when come in contact with the soil, it develops into a new plant. So we call it as a reproduction. If you see the pine tree, it is also non-flowering plant. You can see some pineapple-like structure. The cone-like shape. It has a cone-shaped structure called cones. The pine tree produces the cone-like structures. We call it as cones. So these are the different types of non-flowering plants. Some examples. These are some examples of non-flowering plants. These which do not produce flowers, but they can reproduce. So children, by this we have finished our chapter. Try to write your own points. Thank you. See you in the next class.